will be properly considered. Your ideas will be a great help to my government in its attempt to develop people-centric policies and to make Penang a place that we proudly call our home. Sekian, terima kasih. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, before the Q&A session commences, please be reminded that questions for this session are to be submitted via Slido, and the event ID is Penang 2030. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce the moderator for this session, Datuk Dr. Ooi Kee Beng, Executive Director of Penang Institute.
Thank you everyone. And thank you, Chief Minister, for presenting to the prominent members of Penang society here today and through live streaming to all of Penang and the country, what I think is a very exciting and comprehensive vision for the state. This is a historic event indeed, I think. There are three things I find interesting in your vision. Firstly, there is the people-centric element that you focus on so strongly. I think it's a brilliant idea that the state government facilitates projects started by members of society as much as it provides this infrastructure and the inspiration for private enterprise. Second, I think the vision places Penang within the context of the nation as a whole as very well. Not only will your government engage the federal government very closely, but the vision also sees Penang as a leader in innovative governance and creative entrepreneurship. And thirdly, you will be coordinating the many projects that the state will be involved in. You will be monitoring how these projects affect people, and you will keep the people informed and engaged throughout the whole period. These are important principles that other states will do well to copy. So thank you, Chief Minister. Now, before I start the Q&A, I should say that questions will be coming in through Slido, as mentioned earlier. There will also be questions coming in on Facebook, and these questions will be sent to me on my phone. So if you see me looking at my phone, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm actually reading some questions sent to me by our people. And thirdly, the questions will be coming in, of course, through people lining up at the two microphones here along the aisles. I will prioritize questions that come from the room, of course, but if I do not get enough questions, then I will look for questions in the Facebook and on Slido itself. So yeah, but with that, I think I'll open questions to the floor, and I think the Chief Minister will be very happy to answer your questions.
Can you see the little back so that we can see the screen also?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Yes, we have about 40 minutes for questions. They'll give us a lot of time for the important queries you might have in your head. So may I open the floor to the public? Who wants to go first? The microphones are on the aisle. No questions yet? I see someone being the first. Thank you, sir. Please say who you are and where you come from. Thank you.
Selamat pagi, YABCM. Firstly, my name is Leslie Lee from the Hope Mental Health Association. It's indeed a privileged opportunity, and I have to congratulate the state government for taking such an early initiative 3 months after the election victory to initiate this people-centric governance. So, and the vision that you had for 12 years in 2030 is indeed very appropriate. So, in line also with Penang Lead, my issues or comments are in three particular areas: political, social, economic. In terms of political, I have to congratulate the state government of YB Tuan Lim Guan Eng and the continuation by YAB Tuan Chow in the CAT governments and the people-centric government. I believe that the government is very concerned over the interests and well-being of the people, and to be accountable, to continue in terms of the accountability and the transparency, and to ensure good, competent leaders in government. So we will have to ensure the public services are efficient, competent, accountable, that the public servants see themselves as not public masters, but services to the community at large. And time and efficiency is a very important sector. So this reorientation of little Napoleons in the public service will needs to be restructured, that they see themselves as serving the public, not that they are doing the public a favor. Next, in terms of political, I see that this is the opportunity after 1969, when Malaysia was on a multi-racial elected front. That opportunity was lost. And we had this signs of hope in 2008. It took 10 years, and now we are seeing a new Malaysia 10 years later. So personally, as a Malaysian that's seen through the political developments, it is indeed appropriate that Pakatan Harapan must also gear itself in 2030 or in 2040, that it will be a political party, and a party that transcends racial, religious, cultural backgrounds or differences, and make this different racial, cultural background into our strength of commonalities instead of our differences, as unity is strength. So we hope that Penang will lead, for example, in areas that we see, Kapal Singh, Jadip, Selina, Zariel, being elected in urban areas. We look forward there Atu Akau or this any of the Malaysian of Indian ascent can be also elected in the rural areas. So then we will see the full political maturity of the country for the well-being of the people, not only of the state of Penang, but of the whole country. Many, many years ago, when sorry.
Yeah, you have to get to your question, please.
Okay. So my question is, hopefully the state government do earmark some political development towards this direction in terms of integrating the various people, the various Malaysian people. Then the idea that has been suggested about interfaith, which is very sensitive and which has been mentioned at more meetings, I would suggest monthly meetings about interfaith leaders, monthly meeting, a forum like this from the government to the people where they'll be having feedback. So earmarking education as the fundamental well-being of the state of country, whereby we have the PMC, Wawasan, and then we had the third one, the USM, to make them the hallmark, not only of national standard, of international frame. So we look back, personally, I hope that the state government will take the lead to ensure that the government of Penang be an example, exemplary example for the whole country and thereby transforming new Malaysia to meet to the aspiration and the hopes of all Malaysians.
Okay, thank you.
The
Yeah,
question
would you like
with
to comment?
the problem with long questions, by the time you reach the third one, you forgot the first. But with digitalization and the government coming to one connected, there are so many platforms already in place. Hopefully government can be monitored by the people, and also the realization that the civil service are being monitored through the social media and the various platforms. I think digital transformation of government services is definitely one area that can hope to improve on delivery of government services to the people. Second, politics, I suppose. Pakatan Harapan is very new. It ushered in the two coalition system that we have championed so many decades without success. We wanted two equally strong coalition so that we can challenge each other based on policy and program and vision for the country, and no longer have to rely on race, religion, royalty, and so on to get the support by putting a fear on the people to which party they want to support. Give us some more time. I think Pakatan Harapan is still very new. Whether we can move towards being a sole single and political entity instead of comprising several component parties, that would be something that we aspire. But whether we can achieve it in 2030, I've not included it here, but that doesn't mean we cannot explore the possibility, a vision that Dato' On Jaafar started in the 50s, to see UMNO representing all the races instead of a particular, or instead of being a race-based and religion-based political party. The third one, on interfaith dialogues, I think, as I've said, the more dialogues that you have, the more understanding that we can promote. But maybe every month would be too many, probably twice a year, that we can bring faith leaders from the various religions together to discuss issues that affect the people and affect the country.
Thank you, CM. Now, for those who want to ask a question who are in the room, please queue at the mic so that I can so it's fairer. So whoever gets there first will get to ask the question first.
Okay.
So I see Madam Salma.
Okay, my name is Ku Salma. So I'm very happy to hear that Yang Ahmad Muhammad is talking about climate change, because for the first time we are talking about climate change and not act of God. So we would like to see this kind of accountability in terms of our environmental progress. And it's not just here, but I think everywhere in the world where people talk about clean and green, but then the practice is different. And that's why we have such a severe problem of climate change. I think in Penang and Malaysia, we're still living in a bubble. We don't realize how bad it can get. But in many countries, they're already hit by typhoons, the hottest summers, the coldest winters, and so forth. So it's something that we have to walk the talk. And I would like to see, whether Penang can come up with real policies that talk about limits to physical growth, moving people, not cars, and not externalizing environmental costs, but actually calculating the environmental cost of every project.
Thank you. I think we should address it immediately in case we forget the earlier question. I think in my presentation, and even before that, the first thing that I have said upon assuming this position is to talk about balanced development. How do we strike a balance between economic development and ecological sustainability? So that would be in this context that we talk about confronting climate change, how we can strike a balance between this and to be mindful while we want to promote development, how do we ensure that the ecological and environment impact can be addressed effectively so that the impact will be lessened, even though we can have economic development in the state of Penang.
Thank you. Madam? Yeah.
My name is Lim Ka-ching. I'm with the Women's Center for Change. I would like to congratulate CM for having in his vision family-focused state. I have actually asked some of the questions in Slido already, but I wanted to address it here publicly because I think that Pakatan has promised to put 30% women representation at all levels of decision making. And I think, currently there's only one of 11 exco who is a woman, 15%, DON 16% MPSP, and congratulations to MPP for having, a 30% representation. Now, why is it important for women to keep on harping about this, that we want more women participation? It's because women form half the population, and we see and we experience life differently, and it's always good to have diversity of views. If there are like 70, 80%, 100% women, it's also not good because we want diversity. We want more representation to get diversity of views and to be able to express the needs and experiences of women to share in a society that is kinder and cleaner, and things that women are supposed to take charge of, but it's not actually a women's issue. So issues like childcare, domestic violence, sexual assault of children will always be seen like let WCC take care of it. It's a women's issue. It is not. The perpetrators, who are the majority of the perpetrators, they are male. If we keep addressing the victims and not addressing the male, then we're not getting at the solution. So that is why it is important for women to be part of the decision making. I know CM is actually very gender sensitized, but then your government does not reflect it. And so we really look forward to some changes that can take place. And things like childcare, I mean, everybody gives lip service to childcare, but what is the program? What are what steps are being taken to make sure that our children are taken care of? The children are our future. And yet, we talk, but I don't see anything concrete. And it's a family problem, not a women's issue. Please, men, wake up and take part, take responsibility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Ka-ching, for recognizing that I'm gender sensitive. For many years, I think we have worked together on various issues. You know that I face one problem. There are just not enough women for me to choose. I have chosen Lanky as my wife, but I do not have women to choose to be candidate, to be EXCO members, to be city councillors, to be JKKK members. They are just not forthcoming in sufficient numbers as a critical mass for us to not consider gender in our appointment. We aspire to have more women occupying important decision-making places. Today, in our university, 70% of the undergraduates are women. and one day get ready for a woman prime minister.
Okay. Madam?
Hi, I'm Mei Tan. I'm from School Point and also Asia Green. Firstly, congratulations, and also, as a young entrepreneur, young, generation here, I'm really proud to be here in Penang today. Even though I did used to think about leaving Penang, but I'm, very hopeful and, hopeful to work together to strike for the 2030 vision together. One of the main questions that I, would like to ask is that for our, all these visions is amazing, but what are, ways to actually to nurture, to keep our talents here in Penang, and also invite or, to attract other talents to be here in Penang to actually assist and to make, the vision happen.
Yeah, thank you, May from the young techno sector for highlighting the issue of talent, retaining talent and creating talent. It is an issue that is so important. We say data is king, talent is also king, not queen. So it is very important that we are able to create the talent pool right from day one. But day one means addressing the education system, because you do not create talent overnight. It has to do with the education system in our country, the language, the core subject of emphasis, and there is that much the state government can do. Right now, of course, we recognize that state government, through its effort, focuses on STEM education. With some budget, we want to get ourselves involved in creating interest among the young people about the importance of STEM education as a way forward to drive the future growth engine of our economy, be in the tech sector, technology sector. And we also come up with a startup program. We try to give some incentive. I know that it is not sufficient, of course. Out of 100, 200 applicants, we are just able to give out about 16 recently to give them some capital for them to improve on their solution, so that this solution can one day be also become solution for the wider world, not only within the confine of their imagination. So that these are something that we want to work together with those in the tech sector. I think in the Wisma Yap Chow, it is the beginning of such initiative started a few years ago. Hopefully, if we do not see fruits immediately, we will be able to see it coming and generating much more interest among the young people, as you rightly pointed out. Thank you for choosing to stay in Penang and not migrating elsewhere. Hopefully, with Vision Penang 2030, you will continue to stay and encourage people and friends around you to have a confidence with Penang and work together to prosper Penang. Thank you.
Okay. May I squeeze in a question from Slido at this point? I'll take the top one, the most popular one. Any plans to improve the traffic situation in Penang? Any long weekend or festive season, the island basically stands still and looks like a big parking lot. That's the question.
Keeping, we will need a few more sessions just on this. But suffice to say, I think all of us have taken note of the debate in the media, especially recently, about the Penang Transport Master Plan, being an initiative by the state government to address traffic congestion in the state of Penang. Saudara Guan Eng identified congestion as one of the key issues when he came in 2008. And after so many years, we are still working on getting the approval of the Penang Transport Master Plan project. And it is, to our mind, is a balanced approach with addressing traffic congestion, meanwhile also promoting public transport. And all these are so important for the future growth of Penang. And Penang cannot do with a more efficient road and highway network together with an efficient public transport network. So we hope to strike a balance again. We hope to strike a balance, but the challenges are very great. Of course, they are concerned about ecological damage and so on. But as we work on securing the approval, we can only do the final details after we secure the approval, and all this concern will be taken care of by the second phase of our work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, CM. Over to the next question.
Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera. Saya Puan Latifah, Ketua Wanita PKR ya, Bayan Baru dan Ahli Majlis. To say that I don't want to say suggestion, I nak demand. I would like to demand that in order that you want to achieve Penang 2030, I would like to ask all the YBs, the EXCO, yeah, no matter in what party, should unite. And we as a voters, as the rakyat, we don't want to hear that you are representing DAP, you are representing PKR, you are representing other party. Okay, in order to succeed the project, all the YBs have to stand unite and be one under Pakatan Harapan. Now we are Malaysian. We want you also to say that you under Pakatan Harapan. We don't want to hear anything from the AP or PKR, whatever. Especially, I'm talking, I hope that no YBs or MP will be angry, because as a voter, I'm listening that whenever they have something, they will say, oh, this is DAP. Oh, this is PKR. From now, we demand that we only Pakatan Harapan and we are Malaysian in order that we want to succeed Penang 2030. And I would like to thank Yang Amat Berhormat, because I did whisper to him during cycling things that Yang Amat Berhormat, can you just, give more info to the rakyat, to the voters regarding the Penang Master Plan. Nobody is against for the good cause. But the only thing, quite a number of rakyat, quite a number of Penang guides, they never receive the information. Whereby some people say, 50,000, 60, we have 5,000. So we hope that as what we are doing like ceramah, okay, why not we go to area that we can inform the rakyat, okay, but not the one that is going to have the project. We try to do that. The government try to do that. All the YBs or MP try to go and explain to the area that they in charge of. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't think there was a question.
Ya, terima kasih Kak Pa for wanting all of us to represent. I think we represent Penang and we represent Malaysia. Okay. With regard to your suggestion about having more stakeholders session on the Penang Transport Master Plan, I think we have started 3 years ago. I recently said that we have conducted 960 sessions of public engagement. Probably Kappa just became a councillor. Previously, maybe your concerns are elsewhere on other issues. But now that you have attended a Penang Forum talk, you become aware of the issue and you wanted more information to be shared. I think we have not stopped sharing information. Stakeholders engagement is still continuing. We will reach 1,000 very soon, probably end of the year. We have conducted 960 sessions, big, small, focus group, and so on and so forth. I think it is our commitment to engage with the people so that with the people's support, we can implement the project more successfully. Thank you.
Thank you. For sake of gender balance, I will now allow the men to ask the question. Please.
Morning, Chief Minister. My name is Francis. I'm from SME Association. I'm not demanding, I'm whispering now. Okay. As an association, as the federal side, we found the agency called SME Corporation. When we have any issue or problem or bad or good, we will refer to SME Corporation. CM, how about state level? Do state level have a department or any portfolio handled by any state or EXCO that are in charge of SME?
Can I invite Dato' Halim to just stand up? Yeah, maybe on such issue you can engage with Dato' Halim. We have the Penang Invest, we have PDC, who will work together with you on this issue.
Nice to meet you, Dato' Halim. Dato' Halim, we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, please.
Good morning, Yamat Muhammad. I am Yeow Kong from Tech Dome, Penang. The last Chief Minister, Lim Guan Eng, used to say that we prepare the future for the young and the young for the future. Now, he was talking about this in reference to STEM education, training, and skills. As I was listening to your presentation just now, I think it's really great. I think these initiatives is about the well-being of the rakyat, and it should be so. However, I felt as it was going through, there was a gap. I'm not sure where skills training, the young people, inspiring them to be participating in a new technology economy. By the way, technology doesn't mean just, or science and technology is not just digital. It actually is much, much more wide-ranging than that. I give an example of the participation rate in the technology and science world. In Taiwan, which has a population smaller than Malaysia, in the world that I'm in of science centers, their participation rate, attendance rate at their science centers is about 10% of the population in general, right? So it's kind of pretty high. So the question I want to ask is, for Penang 2030, where does skills training lie, and putting an agenda of a technologically and scientifically literate population is? And already we are hearing, I mean, in my years in industry and also in academia, I've noticed a continuous decline in the skills of the workers we hire. And I think this is a very, very serious problem. My time, I understand the enrollment in STEM, in science, technology, engineering, mathematics is 60% in our university. Today is 20%. So for Penang, I think whatever plans we have that you shared today may not be sustainable 10 years down the road without the right skills. You talk about talents, but I felt it's a bit high level. I think there'll be skills across the board. So the question is, where does all this lie in Penang 2030?
Thank you, Dr. Kong, for your question, and congratulations on the great work in Tech Dome and other STEM initiatives. Today's presentation focused on the 4 themes and then the strategic initiative, and also touched briefly on the project under each strategic initiative. The 4 strategic initiatives that I share is not exclusive. That means it doesn't stop there. The various EXCO members, that's why all of us are invited here, so that you can give input in your respective sector, what you can do to support, to achieve the 4 themes. You can add on to the strategic initiative, or you can embrace the strategic initiative and come up with project or program that can support. Can we go into just an example of the 4 themes and the initiative, so that you can come in and either work with the government, collaborate with the government, go into just an example of the initiative. Because of the constraint of time, this session, we can only highlight, in fact, I requested it to be chart out so that all those who are here today and those who are not here would know what we are trying to do and what role you can also play in your respective platforms and sector. let's say, address housing affordability and diversity. The work doesn't stop with Saudara Jadip, although I name him. But other stakeholders in the housing industry can also give your input as to how probably not only this strategic initiative alone, there could be other initiatives that you think it is important, like Dr. Kong rightly pointed out, skill training. Then it can be included in one of the strategic initiative in one of the key pillars, and then work on programs or project in collaboration or on your own. You have some solution, you have some project that you can carry out in line with our strategic initiative and our team. It is not a plan for the government alone. These plans, by the sheer representation today, the government just formed a section in the front where other stakeholders occupy the rest of the space. That shows that other stakeholders have even bigger role and responsibility working together with the government. This is what we hope to achieve so that everybody can be on the same page. We recognize the vision, the importance, the team we can add on, strategic initiative we can add on, and I think we can work on the projects and the program. We actually didn't want a concept plan 2050 and just leave it there. Actually, 2030 is more about action plan, project, program that can see result over the next 10 years. So that maybe in the next 10 years, we may not be able to achieve being a smart, a green, or to inspire the nation, but we get closer to it. And come the time nearer to 2030, there will, I'm sure there will be a new chief minister then who can bring Penang to another level with his own vision and plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I see an interesting question on Slido. If I may, I'll push that in. A question on childcare centers, I think, would interest many people. Oh, okay, please.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Dr. Kong raised, I think, a very important and a pointed question, and whether Penang can actually, or the other states, but we are focusing on Penang, whether Penang could transcend the skills gap. At the moment, we have, our workforce is only 30% of skilled. I think maybe it's lesser in other states. And this is a fundamental problem in this country. And that could explain why such a large presence of foreign labor, both documented and undocumented. Now, I think Penang has taken the initiative. I don't think any other state has taken the initiative. When we formed the Tech Dome, we formed the Science Cluster, we formed the Penang Digital Library. PSGC has been there for some time. And now we have also created the STEM initiative. Basically, something where the government provides the seed money, but the initiative comes from the industry, the experts in the industry. And we don't want to repeat the failures of other states, both at the state level and at the federal level, where bureaucrats run it. And we don't want to do that. And this could explain the initial success of the STEM program in Penang. Now, this is a fundamental question now. With the decline of students taking up sciences, and this is what I think Dr. Kong raised, and I think he has raised this with me, and this is something very critical, a critical juncture for Penang. How to really grasp the digital transformation. How do we prepare our workforce for the fourth industrial revolution? I think Penang is taking a leap. It may not be a fundamental or big leap. It's a small leap in the right direction. Now, I think the Tech Dome and also the Penang Science Cluster actually providing coding for students from the primary to secondary school, allowing them actually the kind of transformation which might not be available even in the national schools. So what I think critical now is, I think what he's asking is, I think Chief Minister was raising question about the broader issue of transformation. And he was asking a pointed question: how do we prepare our failures, those who do not succeed academically, those who drop out of the school system? Now, are we going to abandon them? Are we going to focus on the grades and say, this is our success story? Or are we going to look at it? And I think, to me, I think 80 or perhaps 85% of our students actually drop out. They can't even read, they can't even write. Now, I think the skills formation, which I think PSCC has smartly initiated with the multinationals, we call it the Meister program, they have come in. Now, I think we're also going to expand the STEM program now. And lately, there has been some initiative from KL to start what they call it, the TVET program, to especially those school dropouts, and to give them basic training, 1 month training, say in refrigeration, 1 month training in car repair, whatever, and prepare them for the workforce. And I think this is something we're going to do in Penang, and also in terms of the drone technology. I'm also quite keen on the drone technology. So we're going to put it together. So I think this can be subsequently incorporated under STEM. This is something I think I just want to address what Congress, and this is why I think we are poised in a very important, in a very critical juncture, whether we want to transform or whether we want to slide back. Because the tertiary education, something went wrong somewhere. And we are just focusing, tertiary education is there, the universities are there, but whether the universities are actually preparing students for the needs of the industry, not necessarily, but to a large extent, I think this must be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for helping to address the concern of Dr. Kong on TVET, technical vocational training, as another avenue to get talents for our industry. I just noticed this question from Zainu Fakar Yaakob. I thought it is just an extension of what was raised by Dr. Kong just now, in that today's session is not the end of the story. The conversation will continue. Your feedback through the email given is much appreciated, and the team will study all this view, and by hopefully January, there will be a more concrete picture coming out of this exercise, in that we can fill in a more strategic initiative if necessary, and then definitely to fill out a project, program, and things that we need to do to support the various initiatives. So the conversation does not stop today. It will continue for another 4 months at least for the team to work on gathering the feedback and then to fine-tune and hopefully to list out action plan for the various projects that we need to do as a government. And if it is proposed by the industry, proposed by the civil society, NGO, we'll see how we can collaborate so that we can work on this program together. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Minister, may I be so bold as to ask you to respond somewhat to the first question on whether the state government and local council will set up childcare centers, since that's part of family friendliness. I think that might interest quite a lot of people.
Chong Eng just requested additional space in Komta because the current childcare hosted by the state government is reaching its capacity because the place is rather small. Additional space will be looked to support this initiative. But this is just a very small initiative. I think the government can facilitate greater by looking at the various guidelines. We have been working on a moratorium exercise. We work on how to reduce the contribution that needs to be paid to convert your property into a childcare and nursing center. And I think it is very tedious process. I think when the planner, those in the government would always want to see a more structured, more development done in a proper manner. But if it is done in that proper manner, a lot of childcare operators would not be able to own a property, to get the right property for this purpose. So I think from the federal government, the various ministry in the past have worked out certain guidelines so that private operators can still provide this service with a license from the local authorities. And I think we have gone through this. Hopefully, it will bring about fruits so that operators can operate in a proper manner and then provide this service to the working mothers so that they can be free to join the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the gentleman there has been standing the longest.
Hi, good morning, YBCM. I'm Peng Chu. I'm a recent law graduate from the University of Cambridge. My first question relates to water consumption issue. So in 2016, the water consumption rate in Penang has been the highest among all states in Malaysia. We reached 286 liters per day, whereas the national average consumption hovers around 209 per day, and Singapore only consumes 148 liters per day. My question is that, do you see that there will be a water crisis in Malaysia? And do you think the increase in water consumption surcharge last year by the state government is effective? And is there any way to create awareness to reduce water consumption? My second question relates to Butterworth. I'm from Butterworth, and I'm very happy that the YB announced that the future of Penang will be in Seberang Perai. If I may ask YB to summarize in 3 words your vision of Butterworth, development in Butterworth in the next 10 years during your tenure, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start with the second one, since I still can remember. As a transportation hub, Butterworth is a very important transportation hub for Penang and for the northern region. So we should help Butterworth to reach this potential as a transportation hub, not only for people, but for goods. A vibrant culture and arts hub for Seberang Perai, and commercial activities, a vibrant commercial hub for the northern, or for Seberang Perai. I think we can revitalize some of this older section of the town. At the moment, it's already ongoing on a smaller scale to create an art scene in Butterworth. And also, in the beginning of the presentation, there is also something to talk about the Butterworth and the Penang Island waterfront. It is just a matter of 2 kilometers apart, separated by the northern China. But how we can work at connecting the 2 dots through a water transport system, water taxi, which is more efficient than the ferry service, I suppose, so that it can open much more opportunity in terms of mobility and connectivity between the 2 parts of the states, just separated by probably 2 kilometers of water. And we can explore the potential by harnessing the water asset of the state. Thank you.
Thank you. We've actually run out of time, but I see 2 people still standing. We'll allow you to ask your questions, but please be short.
Okay,
Yes,
very
madam.
short. I'm Ku Hui Lei, and I'm from the Harapan Arts Council. And I'm really glad, like in your first strategy, you put arts, to enhance quality of life, and you put arts and cultural facilities. Will that be a one-stop arts and cultural center be built in Penang, or we already have the space that you have in mind that you will make the performing space functional? Because like sometimes some of the light system or the sound system is not working well, in this performing theater. So what do you have in mind? Because you said like you diversify recreational, sports, arts and cultural facilities. So will that be a arts and culture one-stop center be built?
At the moment, I believe we do not have a proper arts and performance venue. It is basically hall like this, or the Dewan Sri Penang, or space in the convention center like Straits Key or Spice. There is a Penang Pack in Straits Key. There is all about what we have in the art scene, performing art scene. There is a proposal to look at Dewan Sri Penang. It is an existing building, functioning very well for very diverse purpose, probably too diverse. You can get a Hari Raya open house, mee goreng surfing, and that is a proposal, of course, to look at how we can transform Dewan Sri Penang and the area behind Dewan Sri Penang.
Exactly, the town hall and
As
Fort
an-
Cornwallis.
No, it's towards the sea, the Medan Renung food court, how we can link Dewan Sri Penang to this new area. But that would involve a lot of money, I suppose. Our state financial officer is looking at me, how to get the many millions to do such a project. So I think there is such an idea thrown out for our consideration, whether we work with some the existing facility at Dewan Sri Penang, although not ideal in the proper sense, but as a place that we can work on, as you say, town hall and
Fort Cornwallis.
Fort
is open.
Cornwallis,
Yeah, Esplanade.
turning the public realm, public space in the whole area, not necessarily buildings alone.
Yes.
The space is important, and we would like to work with the where's Kappa? Now the Art Council is also called Harapan Arts Council, you know. So we would like to hear more from the Harapan Arts Council to work together on this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And sir, your turn.
Thank you very much, and good morning to YAB, chowkuanyew, and friends. I'm Surveyor Zahari. I'm here representing the Royal Institution of Surveyors Malaysia and various NGOs too. I congratulate the state for putting such an important theme in the development of the state, a family-focused, green and smart state that inspires the nation. So from here, I can bet the state will stay focused. When you talk about family, it promotes family values in the development. We know it very well that Penang is a very congested state. We have villages, we have established housing, and modernity will encroach and possibly they will be displaced. I like to beg the state give full consideration in the development of the state, taking care of sociological structure already existed in our communities, in villages, in various communities. So when we bring development, make sure we don't displace them haphazardly. Bring them back into the same area so that we can ensure extended families, values stay in place among them. I wish the state always give priority to heritage management plan, to give priority to the development of heritage management plan, or we call it HMP, to form the basic design brief of the development. And when you talk about green, I think we should continue to educate the household to play their role, important role, primary role, to manage waste, kitchen waste, organic waste, wet waste, the smelly waste. So we must talk about zero waste and make our household environmental entrepreneurs. I think we should not talk just voluntarism, but let them see that they can benefit and earn, from their exercise.
Thank you.
And then come to smart state. I look forward, to the development of disruptive technology. We should do away with technology or replace technology that is harmful and not helping, in future development. So disruptive technology should be a welcome, disruptive, like how mobile phone to replace the old telephone. Now, this is what I mean by disruptive technology. It disrupts the old technology, which is not helpful.
Okay, thank
and
you.
then energy as well. So
Do you have a question,
we look
sir?
forward
Yeah.
to work together. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you very much for giving me the chance
Thank
to
you.
speak. Thank you.
Yeah, I've just received instructions. We will, since there are so many questions all from all directions, we'll close at 12 o'clock instead of now. So we have a few more minutes if the Chief Minister doesn't mind. Next question, please.
Good morning. Thank you, YB. I'm Lim Kik Siang from the Penang Heritage Trust. First of all, I would like to thank the government for giving the civil society chance to be involved in the Penang Transport Master Plan and got accepted our proposal to have a comprehensive Penang Transport Master Plan since 2008. And also accepted the civil society's proposal to engage HealthCro in serving into our transport system and adopted the HealthCro plan in 2013. Unfortunately, the plan has been modified until now. This is a current transport master plan. And I have a few concerns about this plan because especially when the government call for people to review the EIA report of the PL1, and which I've read the report more than 10 times. And the more I read, the more I couldn't sleep. From the PL1, first of all, I was very excited because it's going to take 15 minutes from Gurney Drive to Bangla Pass. It's very good. But then after reading the reports, it says that it is going to cut through Penang Hill. I'm from Heritage. And then Penang Hill is going to apply for biosphere, UNESCO biosphere status. And it's going to cut through the dam, 500 meters from the dam. And the dam is a dam built in 1958 and completed in 62 by Lim Gotong, not by the British. And with 2,005 million tons of water. So that's my biggest concern. And the area is the fracture area of the granite of the hill. And the third, another concern is that in the report also says that after PL1 completed, which would take 5 to 7 years to be completed, during these 5 to 7 years, there'll be congestion, but that it will be saturated in 2030, which is exactly today, your visions. So will it help or not by having PL1 and which is going to compromise so much on the environment, the green, because I really appreciate YAB CM's initiative of providing a greener Penang. That's what we are hoping for, looking forward. But how many trees we are going to cut by having the PL1? Is there a possibility to review it? And then after that, because I look into the whole transport master plan, we are going to have about 70 kilometers of elevated structure on this small island. That means 32 kilometers, 30 over kilometers of elevated highways and 42 kilometers of elevated LRT and monorail. So, and Penang, if you make Penang Island one round, is also 70 kilometers. So it's going to seriously jeopardize our aesthetic of the township and streetscape of Penang Island. So is YAB is going to review can we review the whole PTMP so that we have a more holistic PTMP and especially like PL1 because in 2030 is be saturated. So are we going to build a PL? 2 is in the pipeline, 2A is in the pipeline. Are we going to build PL 3, 4, 5, 6 like in Beijing, or do we have a better alternative? Yeah, thank you.
We have no alternative. We do not have the space of Beijing. Look at the geography of Penang Island. You know that whatever that can be built had been built. You do not want it to move to the hills, of course, and they are control over hill development. Practically, our northeast corridor, there is no space to build any highway at all. And Leboraya Lim Chongyu was created through reclamation. It is not built on existing space available. It was built through reclamation of the sea. Likewise, as you move up, any planner would say that there is no more corridor for Penang Island on existing built environment. That's why the alignment was chosen so that it will have the least disruption to existing communities. by going into the hills through tunneling. Of course, Ms. Lim has raised many pertinent issues, particularly technical issues. We will issue a statement in a day or two addressing all these technical issues. I think it will be too technical here to talk about these technical issues. But we will issue a statement in a day or two. It is already prepared so that we can appreciate why this alignment had to be chosen, the methods of construction, and the concern of the community about the geological aspect of the Penang Hill, whether it is strong enough for a tunnel to go through. I think our experts feels that Penang rock granite would allow such tunnel to be done. And there are so many tunnels being built in Malaysia. There are many cases that we can look at. I'm sure the best practices will have to be complied when building this tunnel. Don't frighten the people that in one blow the whole Penang Hill will be blown up. It's not to be done that way. In English, there is a term, inching our way, inch by inch. Practically, the tunnel has to be built that way. Inching its way into the hill by controlled blasting. And after controlled blasting of maybe half a meter length, concreting will be done immediately to stabilize the exposed area. And then inching its way to the other side and to see lights at the end of the tunnel. So that would be the construction method. I'm not in the construction business, but this is what I've been told. So I think nobody wants to damage Penang through this project. I think it is crucial that we have this for the future. While Lebuh Lim Chong Yu, at the moment, it is in road engineering term, it is service level F minus. That means tak jadi lah. You need to divert away from Lebuh Tun Dr. Lim Chong Yu. And yes, all highways will become saturated in peak hours. Not that it cannot function in normal time. It may downgrade the service level, but definitely it is needed for the long term. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll now let a question in from Slido. This is a question from the St. Nicholas Home for the Blind. Will the state continue to place emphasis and importance on improving physical accessibility for OKU in general and BVI in particular? I won't pretend I know what AKU and BVI are, but I'm sure the Chief Minister does.
Vision impaired, yeah. Blind and visually impaired. I think we are working, engaging a special group on needs. The local council is entrusted with this responsibility in ensuring the built environment comply to universal design. And today, if you are not proud of Penang the past 10 years, I think you can be proud of Penang having a better pedestrian walkway with universal design compliance. That personally, I feel after 10 years in the local government, something that I can definitely be proud of in advancing universal design compliance in our building, green building index, even in heritage building. All these are work in progress. We have not come to an ideal situation that it is barrier-free for all special needs people in the state of Penang. Today, thank you to the interpreter here. Thank you very much. Probably the first time ever in Penang in a government function. Although our friends must be from MPSP, I think. Thank you, MPSP, for leading the way. The mayor is just beside you. Maybe you can pass on some tips We don't have an ideal environment yet for the special group, and it is work in progress. Hopefully, more can be done over time, and Penang will become a more friendly, will have a more friendly environment for the special groups to cater to their special needs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I think, to be fair, I'll let a question in from Facebook. This is from Ms. Yap Su Hui from the UK.
Hi.
It doesn't need a long answer, I think. I'll read the whole note. We often get the same faces and voices giving feedback because the culture of engaging in policy and issues in a mature and knowledge-based manner is not yet commonplace. Can the state have a department that aims to increase awareness and capacity of Penang citizens to engage government?
There is also a similar question about having engagement at the state constituency level. I think probably not 10 years, but 8 years ago, I have proposed to have assemblymen heading a constituency sort of a committee that conduct stakeholders engagement on a regular basis. I can't remember the name at that time. It is based on the constituency level so that assemblymen can have their sessions with important stakeholders in their constituency to update and to receive feedback. I think one of the team that we have is also on empowering the people. We have given a special team in recognition of the importance of people. Without people involvement, I think it is no point having such a session, and government can do what it likes without engaging the people. I think for the future, the trend is the more you engage, the better it will be. So we are actually giving emphasis. Again, not ideal to the liking of Yap Su Hui. She is in US now. But we are doing our best so that Penang, we can accommodate diverse views, different views, and we can move on despite diverse and differences of views. Thank you.
Thank you, CM. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you very much for a very inspiring speech and presentation of your vision for Penang 2030. And my name is Amal Omar Salim, and I represent the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action, WABA. We met a couple of weeks ago at the launch of the Making Penang Breastfeeding Friendly initiative at the top in Komtar. And this multi-stakeholder initiative, which actually now at this point includes more than 20 stakeholders from the healthcare, from the community, and also we are hoping also for the workplace sector to join as well, and also the state. This initiative is actually the unique initiative. It's the first initiative of its kind in Malaysia. So that speaks to this part of your slogan, inspires the nation. Making Penang breastfeeding friendly, we hope will also inspire the rest of Malaysia, the whole of Malaysia and ASEAN, the region and beyond, to become breastfeeding friendly. Why breastfeeding friendly? Because it has many benefits for the children, of course, who are breastfed, both short and long term. For the mothers, about 20,000 maternal deaths from breast cancer can be prevented by breastfeeding, and that's a lot. The World Bank has said that it's the greatest investment in global health. So prevention is better than cure, just to reiterate your words that you said. Breastfeeding makes a smarter nation. 2.7 IQ points, which translates into $100 more in earnings per month. There are studies which have been done by the World Bank on this. So we can do a lot. It's green. Somebody mentioned about 4,000, the water situation. 4,000 liters of water are needed to produce 1 kilogram of infant formula. Now that's a lot of water if we think about how many kilos of formula are being consumed in Penang. So we are looking for your support and the stakeholders, especially from the private sector, the companies, the workplaces to actually implement this initiative. And I think that if we look at the objectives that you had, and you asked earlier that you would like the stakeholders here to look into see which of these objectives that projects would fit, I think we would find quite easily that making Penang breastfeeding friendly initiative would fit in all 4 of them. Different parts of the indicators, of course, you will have KPIs here and there, but I think that this is an initiative that we look forward to having more stakeholders join in, and also your support. Thank you.
Thank you. WABA, World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action. Yes, we met recently in your launch. I think it has conscientized me about how important an advocacy work that you are doing. And welcome to Penang, the home for a lot of international NGO, the doyen of the NGO movement, a number are based in Penang. And definitely you gave a very good example of how stakeholders can come in to collaborate with the state government on a particular initiative you are working or about to work, or have some idea that you want to develop. This is one classic case that we can work together on promoting breastfeeding in view of the goodness of breastfeeding to our society and community. And we like to definitely partner you in this program. Thank you.
Okay. I think it's practically 12 o'clock. There's one person left standing. Salma, a short question,
okay.
please. We have to end.
Okay, so we know that traffic congestion affects productivity. It is a concern for all of us. So in view that now Pakatan Harapan holds the federal government, and that means that the previous problems that we had about not being able to control transport routes, not being able to build a bridge because, that's why we went for undersea tunnel and the highways. These conditions no longer apply. So we would like the government to review the Penang Transport Master Plan, because not just for environmental reasons, which are very important, because, for example, growing awareness of air pollution and how it affects health and intelligence, but also for economic reasons, because we're going to be spending 12 billion on one highway, Pil 1 and Pil 2, when it only takes 10 billion to get a comprehensive public transport master plan of 7 tram lines and 3 BRT, which for Penang Island and also Seberang Perai. And highways is the kind of solution that doesn't reach the bottom 40. It doesn't reach the people who don't have cars, that need to be considered and need to be included in a truly inclusive mobility plan. So these are the, we would like, can we have a review by the state?
Thank you, Usama. Maybe you can sit down to listen to the reply. I think this issue is not new. You have raised it on various occasions. We have also replied you on numerous occasions. Just that the fact that you do not want to accept the fact that HELCRO is just a broad concept master plan. The caveat put up by HELCRO, it is done without detailed design consideration. The cost is just a broad brush cost estimate without technical design consideration. That is stated in the HELCRO report, the qualification of the cost estimate of this project. But Penang Forum just refused to accept and bang on the figure used by HELCRO. HELCRO in fact says 27 billion. That's why 27 billion is used, including the few mega highway. So it is 27 billion HELCRO project, not that 7 million that you talk about. Of course, the tram, we also explain why the tram is not selected. You can call a rail system whatever you want, but the issue is whether it is at grid. If it's at grid, is this a dedicated road? And I think Penang Forum like to use, or Penang Heritage Trust like to use a photograph that you think would consider advance your cost by putting fear into the people that you build such a mammoth structure in front of 2 rows of houses. At least the car can still move at the bottom if you build that. Of course, the structure is not as big as you want it to believe. But if you, assuming your structure is correct, occupying almost the width of the 2 roads in Penang, if you put it down at grid, that means the whole road will be taken over by the tram. So is this what you want to see in Penang? A tram replacing all the roads, I mean along the alignment. That's why the elevated section is preferred, because it is built above. Most of the pillars are built in the medium of the road, and we can still keep the existing number of lanes. These are the considerations that we have considered. Not that we don't want a tram. Maybe a tram can be in the inner city, where all the whole traffic arrangement can have to be changed, and probably no vehicles allowed, and so on and so forth. But that would come in the second phase or future phase. But at the moment, we want to focus on LRT from Komtar to Bayang Lepas, and the alignment is avoid existing built-out area, the built environment, using Lebuh Raya Dr. Lim Chong Yu, and the medium where the train will run without having to look into acquisition costs. And mind you, the HELCRO estimate does not include land acquisition costs. And if you want to put a tram system on existing road and also want to keep existing road for other users, because we are just talking about 40-60 model share. We are not talking about 100% public transport share. The 60%, I think a lot of them are represented here, would still require roads for them to travel. So if you want to replace the existing lane taken away by the tram, you will have to acquire land on the left, acquire land on the right to maintain the existing driveway. And that would involve huge amount of acquisition costs. So HELCRO, read what is in there, do not take what favors you. But as you claim it is so objective, read all the statement. They have a qualification on why they come up with the estimate of the cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Minister. I think we have to end now. Sorry, sir, we have to end now. We have made the Chief Minister stay beyond his schedule, really.
Okay.
Very short question, please.
Yeah, mine will be very short. I'm Richard Koh from the top Komtar. I'd like to find out from the state, as everybody is, the YB is all here, what is the program to upgrade Komtar surrounding? As you know, we have spent 200 million at the top, and we are facing problem with the traffic, as well as the beggars are still around in the area. No doubt we have been trying to get rid of it. We also face a lot of problem of directional signage to the top. So is there any initiative from the state government to help us? Especially, you know, we invested 200 million in this project, and I'm also not a Penangite. I'm from out of state, and I'm willing to spend so much to upgrade the state of Penang. I hope we'll get all the cooperation from the states to enhance the surrounding of the Komtar area. On the other hand, is also all the NGOs. You know, we are always very supportive for all the NGOs who want to help seminars at our place. We always welcome them. Thank you.
Thank you, Tan Sri Koh, for your confidence in investing over 200 million in rejuvenating Komta. With regard to traffic, I think right in front of Komta is a the hotspot for traffic congestion in town. I think the plan is already been finalized to build 2 elevated U-turn in Ghat Lebo McCallum area so that traffic can be discharged direct to Lebo Raya Dr. Lim Chong Yu from Jalan Dr. Lim Choi Leong, and also another U-turn to facilitate residents of McCallum Street to discharge into Lebo Raya Dr. Lim Choi Leong, taking away the 2 traffic lights, I believe, right in front of McCallum and Lebo Cecil. So that would hopefully address congestion in the city area. Previously, there is an initiative called BITS, Business Improvement District Scheme, spearheaded by Dato' Rosli Jafar from PDC, being the biggest property owner in the area. But it is not easy getting business stakeholders to work together when cost is involved. It has not achieved the desired result in ensuring the business community in the Komta area come together to work and to enhance that place as a destination for shoppers to come when they are in Penang. But meanwhile, I think local council, they are having some initiative to improve connectivity in the area. The pedestrian walkway, the back lane, side lane will be improved so that moving into Komta will be seamless and facilitate people connection with the building. PDC tried to acquire the property so that we can rejuvenate, but of course maybe the sum or the price offered to buy over the empty lots is not up to the expectation of the property owner. That's why out of several hundreds of vacant lots in Komta, PDC only managed to acquire 50 out of the empty lots. That is our determination to help to rejuvenate and revitalize Komta by buying back all the vacant lots so that we can rebrand Komta into a niche shopping destination. But because of the failure to get most of the empty lots back to PDC ownership, our plan has not seen better result yet. If owners feel that they do not want to keep the property anymore and they want to collaborate with PDC or the top to work out a more sustainable solution to revitalize Komta, we are open to this idea. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, CM. I think we have to end here. So please help me in thanking CM for taking the initiative to engage with the prominent people of Penang and with the whole of Penang today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And further comments and questions can be sent to the email that was shown earlier, penang2030@penanginstitute.org. And we will collate the questions and make sure that it goes to the EXCO and to the CM. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. you.